Cheers. You guys wanted an unboxing, so I'm here. Make sure you're following me on my Instagram at repotthedamnthing. And this is officially my first YouTube video. Cheers. So I did do a little bit of pre-work. I've got quite a few cactus that came in this shipment, and I did not want to get those sticky buggers in my hands. So I did go ahead and unwrap everything ahead of filming, and now I'm just going to show you what I got without wasting the time of digging those things out of my hands. So kind of start with some of the less well-known plants, I guess. Something like this is literally just fireworks grass. I got it because it looks really pretty outside. I'm going to put it on my front porch in like a hanging basket. It did not travel super well. It's a little dry on the ends, but that should be easy to clean up. And the root system is actually really great. I can actually see it coming out of the plastic. So I'm going to get these repotted today, but I'll give it a good cleaning before I do that. So this is fireworks grass. Pretty resilient. Like I said, I'm just going to throw it outside and it'll do its thing. So I'm going to start with the philodendrons because I've got them all right here together. So this right here is the philodendron moonlight. It is a juvenile. I buy most of my plants small so that I can keep the cost down and then see them as they transform, because some of these will, their leaves might change, or a little bit of coloration could be different as they mature. And I do have, it's probably hard to tell, there is actually a baby leaf starting in here. So that's exciting. And again, this is philodendron moonlight. So next up, we have our second philodendron. This is a philodendron Prince of Orange. You can tell because the leaves are a little bit more of this orange gold, almost rosy color, honestly. And it also seems like it's got a new leaf coming up, probably hard to tell as well. But I'm really excited for this guy. As he matures, his leaves are just, they're gonna be phenomenal. It's gonna deepen in color. Even if you can see the veining on the back, there's a little bit of red. That is super pretty. And they're pretty easy to grow too. So next up is philodendron number 3. And this baby, it's a little dirty. You can see some rain spots on here, so I'll give it a good cleaning. I do that all the time before I pot my new plants, make sure that they don't have anything they shouldn't, and then I'll isolate them from my current collection as well. But this is the philodendron black cardinal. While they're young, they do tend to be a little bit of a brighter green than they will look when they mature. But you can see even the sheath coming out, it's very dark red, and it's got that dark redding on the back too. All of these philodendrons more or less take the same amount of care. We'll see. I think some of these might need a little bit more light, so we'll kind of play around with how we adjust them in our space. But it's a pretty good specimen. I'm really excited to see it as it gets larger. So then, this last two are probably my favorite philodendrons that I've ordered. You can't tell because it is such a baby, but this is a philodendron Birkin. Everybody has seen the Birkins. Everybody's going crazy for the Birkins. They're beautiful. The coloration on the leaves are, I mean, it's outstanding. So mine unfortunately just kind of looks a little bare, but it is because it is such a baby. But as it's growing, it will start to get that really beautiful white, I guess, veining in the leaves. So I'm super excited to see this grow. This is my first Birkin, so I'll let you guys know if it likes me or not. We'll see. I do pretty well with my philodendrons. I've got a couple of existing Brazils, but I found this one for a good price, and you can never have too many. I want to say I spent like maybe 12 bucks on this baby. Probably find them a little bit cheaper, but as we all know, we're stuck inside right now, and I'm doing my part for those that do have to be working. So I'm keeping my butt at home in this hammock that I actually just built or put together. So I'm super excited to be here, and the weather's perfect for me to be doing this and to repot these today. So this is your typical Brazil. You can see the yellow splotch in the middle. As these grow out, they tend to look about the same. I've seen a couple that will have a little bit more of a cream colored variation, but this one's probably just going to end up staying pretty green yellow. Correct me if I'm wrong, I think that it's actually a different variety that has that cream coloration. Just let me know in the comments. But I'm super excited for this. Kind of a little bit more common, but still beautiful. And they're super quick growers. Like, I'm gonna put this thing out, and by the end of the summer, it's probably gonna need to be repotted. So I do tend to pot kind of small when I first get them. I'd rather them focus on putting out these beautiful leaves instead of only kind of working on their roots and filling up too big of a pot and potentially even losing a plant. So I think I actually miscounted. I said my last two were my favorite. So that was my everyday. This is actually the one that I was probably most excited to get. This one's also new to me as well. This is a philodendron micans. It's a little bit hard to tell in a video or sometimes even in the photos, but they're very velvety. It has a little bit of a different texture than some of these first ones I showed you that are significantly more of a waxy, smooth leaf. These, they feel so good, guys. Oh, it's beautiful too. You can see on the back side of the leaves coming out, there's quite a bit of red to them. So as these mature, I haven't decided if I'm going to make a stake for it and have it grow up, or put it in a hanging basket and let it trail down. Kind of gonna let it do its thing probably for about a month and see which direction it's liking, and then figure it out then. But I'm super excited for this micans. It's small, but it's gonna grow and it's gonna be beautiful. There's a couple new leaves I see coming out. Again, these were shipped to me, so keep in mind that, you know, a little bit of shipping damage is to be expected, but water them, they'll bounce right back. So this one, I was actually gonna have you guys let me know what you think this is. So I ordered a Hoya Crimson Queen and a Princess. Unfortunately, I only received one plant, so they did miss one of the two. What I received, I think the Princess, so I think I'm missing the Queen. Just let me know if this is a Queen. They do have pretty much the same care, just a little bit of their coloration is different, and the area that you're going to get the difference in colors, you know, versus the middle of the leaf versus the edge of your foliage. I'm pretty sure though that's what this one is, but just let me know. It's a pretty hefty piece. I can already feel and see some of the roots coming out, and they look very good. I've never had issues with this seller sending me anything with, you know, root rot or pest or really terrible stuff, but he does basically work by himself. So I will get a lot of plants that are just, you know, pretty soily, but that's to expect. They came in a box, you know, I'm sure they got shook up a little bit, and we just need to wipe them down and give them a good water. They'll be happy. So my next one, I'm gonna actually save probably the most rare plant for last. I know I got a couple of messages from you guys that were asking when I was gonna get mine in, because I was super excited for it. So we'll hold that one off, because I've got a little bit of information about that one too. So this, you can see it did come with a little bit of browning on the leaves, but from my experience with pothos that have more of a white or cream variation to them, that they do tend to get a little bit more sunburn easier than something like your traditional golden pothos. So this is the Manjula. I had been looking for one and all I could find were snow queens or marble queens that they were saying were mandulas, or pearls and jades or enjoys that they were saying were mandulas. So I had a couple of mishaps, but I do believe I finally got an actual mandula. If this is not, I don't know what it is. I'm pretty sure it's a mandula because it doesn't look like any other pothos that I have, and I have quite a few. So I'm super excited to see how this one performs compared to the ones I already have. I've heard it's a little bit more of a slower grower, but we'll see. Some of these leaves are huge. A couple of new ones coming in at the top, starting to unfurl, so that's exciting. I'll probably go through when I pot it and clean up some of this crispiness that you see, just so that it doesn't fall everywhere, and kind of clean up for photos and stuff. But I'm super excited for this baby. It's very dry. You can tell I'm literally just picking off dry leaves, but it's gonna be pretty. I'm very excited for this. And like I said, I'd been looking for one of these for quite a while. So this was definitely a wish list plant. So thank you, Chris, for finally giving me one of those that I have been looking for. So I'm always a proponent of buying new plants, but also sticking with plants that you know grow well in your house and that you know how to take care of. So it might be a little hard to see, but I have a pretty hefty snake plant back here, a Sansevieria. At least it used to be Sansevieria. I'm sure you're caught up. They're actually not Sansevieria anymore, but they're still Sansevieria to me. They're my snake plants. I was gifted a 30-year-old snake plant, and this is one of 6 containers, identical, with one baby one over here on the edge. I'm not sure if that's in frame, but I know that they grow super well here. I'm in the south. It's very hot. We have a little bit of humidity, but most of these are actually inside plants for myself. This is my outside Sansevieria, and it does fine here. I take it inside if I know rain's going to be coming, because it's not a covered porch, but I have a front covered porch, and I'll just run it outside or leave it inside for the night, and they've been fine. They love me. So I found this Trifascata Hanny Eye is its name, and you know it's a Hanny Eye because it's got this beautiful, almost neon, like lime green yellow banding around the edges. It's a little bit of a smaller specimen, but I can already see the roots look pretty good on here, and they feel pretty strong. And these things are pretty hardy. I mean, it's hard to kill one of these babies. So this is my first Hanny Eye. Like I said, I'm pretty familiar with other types of Sansevieria, so I'm sure this one is exactly the same. I'm gonna treat it basically like the other ones. I'm gonna sit it somewhere and I'm gonna ignore it. I'm gonna let it have as much sun as it wants, and probably water this once every 2.5 weeks. Depends on where I place it and how much the humidity is around some of the other plants. But these things, they're resilient. Like, if you want something that you can't kill, get one of these bad boys. So that was a Hanny Eye. This, the guy that I buy from, his name's Chris, like I mentioned, and they actually had a donation where they're trying to get some of their greenery and landscaping done for their housing complex, and I ended up purchasing this hibiscus. I'm not sure the specific variety, but it is beautiful with these like deep maroon, kind of burgundy orange leaves, a really pretty red stem. It's gonna be outside. Probably put it on my front porch, just so it doesn't get blistered, since it's a little bit of a smaller one. This leaf's probably gonna go. You see it's a little drippy, but it's all good. So this, $5 to a good cause. I hope their landscaping is everything they want it to be, and I got a nice deal out of it. So this was probably one of the plants that I was not the most excited about, but very excited about. I've been seeing these all over Instagram. I've seen them on YouTube. I've actually started seeing some of them creep into my Facebook, because plants are starting to kind of take over my entire life at this point. So I saw these and I couldn't ever find one that wasn't either extremely large already, and then I would have to worry about trying to ship it here and how much damage it could get. But Chris actually got a shipment of these, and they are zebra snows. They're aphelindrias. It's actually my first that I've ever had, and kind of the first time that I've ever really felt one in person. But the leaves feel super cool. They're very ridgy. And I mean, the name is zebra snow for a reason, right? So a little bit more of a green than a white right now, but I think with more sun, like this one here, it should probably brighten up a little bit. And this thing's pretty hefty too. Super excited. If you guys have any care tips for these, just let me know. Like I said, I don't really know much about them other than the fact that they are seriously stinking beautiful. I mean, I'm gonna put this probably next to some like green art that I have and see if it'll bring out a little bit of that middle speckling. And the backside too, very veiny on the leaves. Pretty hardy. I mean, the stems they're very thick. So I'm super excited to see how that one grows and how quickly it grows. I don't really know much about it, but we'll see. I'm gonna take a little wine break because why not? I've talked a lot and I need a minute. We are almost through our first box. I did get 2 boxes, so quite a few plants, and I was kind of just trying to grow my collection at the start of the summer so that, you know, by the time winter is approaching, I've got some things propagating, I've got other things coming, and honestly, I'm probably having a giveaway soon, so keep out on the lookout. I have an idea of what I want to do. I've got a couple things that I have in the works. I'm just unsure. There's kind of 2 options I can take here, and we'll kind of narrow it down as we get closer. Once I have an actual, you know, surprise, we're having a giveaway, whatever, I'll post it on Instagram. You'll know what it is. Okay. So the last plant in the first box is this beautiful outside plant. Did notice it's a little bit sad from shipping. Tends to be a little bit more kind of a tougher leaf almost. Not quite succulent, but almost succulent-like. So these do perform kind of like a succulent. They do like a lot of sun. Once they get more sun, you can see a little one coming in here. They do get these really pretty red flowers and these red blooms. I am going to stick it probably in a hanging basket, let it do its thing for the summer, and it'll start to firm up once I pot it into some soil too. So this is the Mezzo Trailing Red. So last is the one that I'm holding. So we're gonna put it in the front because I'm gonna go back to that. That's actually the most exciting plant that I have owned, that I've ever seen, that I've ever purchased, that I've ever been given, anything. We'll get to it. I'm so excited for that plant. So this was probably the biggest one that I got. And I got a really great price on this as well. Uh-oh, I see a leaf fell out. A couple leaves fell out. But you see, they literally already have roots on them. So I'm just gonna put these in the pot when I plant it. This one, since there are no roots, it literally just fell off. And this one's falling off too, you can see. But it's hanging by. I'll pot this in some water and just chill it, let it grow, and then probably gift it to somebody. It's a pretty full plant. They are pretty quick growing if you give them the right conditions. I like the look of the larger leaves, but I'm not a huge fan of staking things, even though a lot of them in nature, and most of them in nature, do tend to be that way. But I like the look of a trail, so I'll probably let this baby trail down. Might be a little bit of a slower grower with it that way, and the leaves that come out will probably end up being smaller than the current ones, but it's beautiful. Did I tell you what this was? This was a Scindapsus exotica. So I already had the Agerius and it's doing so well. I think this morning I counted it's got like 7 or 8 new leaves, which is super exciting. This baby should also love it. I'll probably end up putting it in the same spot that I have the Argyrius and just let it do its thing. But these leaves, I mean, they're massive. You can see how big these are. Uh-oh. I think I'm getting soil in my wine. I'm sure you understand. I feel like if you have plants, there's soil everywhere. Under your nails, on the floor. My dog has soil on his paws constantly. So this is the Exotica. Pretty big. Pretty happy with this baby. And you can see there's a few new leaves even starting to come out. The roots are humongous. Like this is a beast. That's a bad boy. I'm gonna put that down before I lose any more leaves. Like these. Then I'm gonna keep it rolling. So I have these in here. These technically did not come in this shipment. I actually got these in my last shipment from Chris, which I did not put on YouTube, but I haven't potted them up yet. I've just been having them in like a little bit of soil and I've been misting them, but I'm gonna put them in some actual pots today. Do you guys know what these are? These were not ordered by me, so I'm not sure of their name. So if you know, just let me know. I actually see a spider on one of them. That's why we don't take our plants and leave them outside for too long, because then you'll start to notice you've got some pests. And everybody knows pests are already bad enough if you have houseplants. So that is a spider. Luckily, I've never received anything from Chris that had anything other than kind of your regular spiders on it. I don't want to kill that, so I just fling it away. Probably landed on another plant, but it'll be okay. So if you know what these are, just let me know. They're just succulents, little rosette type succulents, but they're pretty. And he sent them to me as a thank you for doing business with him. So I'm gonna pot them, be very happy with them. So this is my first air plant. Never owned an air plant, but I've been seeing these, and I've got a couple of areas in my house that don't get very much light. I've just never put plants there. So plants are probably in like 50% of my house. I do have a roommate, so kind of that side of the house, I just let her do her own thing. Then all the plants kind of stay over here. I keep most of them in my bedroom and bathroom only because I like the look of a green space. Then when I go to sleep at night, I found it really helpful. It's very peaceful. I'll turn the lights on. I've got some grow lights and, you know, some decorative lights and whatnot, and turn some nice music on low and just kind of chill out, take a nice bubble bath. But now I have this, and really you can put it anywhere, so I'm told. If you guys have any care tips for Tillandsia, am I saying that right? Also, Tillandsia, just let me know. I'm just gonna throw it somewhere and just mist it and probably dunk it once every week and a half for about 10 minutes. That's kind of the gist that I've been getting online, but I've seen some of these get pretty big. I don't know if it's dependent on the variety or not, but we'll see. So I just got a little one. I think this was like $4 or $5, just to see kind of how I like it. But I do like the look. I like that kind of spikiness to it. Those are pretty cool. So this one also was actually in my last shipment, but I had yet to pot it up. I had it rooting a little bit more in some water. It came a little bit sad, so I wanted to give it a little bit of extra time to get used to my house. And then today I'm going to put it into a pot finally. So this was the Ruby Ficus elastica. I did have a regular one, but unfortunately it did not survive the winter. Frost kind of murdered it and it broke my heart. It was a very old plant, but it was my fault. I left it outside and it was a bad time, but I got a little replacement. So this is actually the Ruby variety. You can see the back side of the leaves are this really pretty dark red color. And then on the leaves themselves, they're surrounded and bordered by this really pretty red variegation. Look at the tip of that one. These are pretty resilient plants. They like warmth. They don't like too much water. Most of my plants do tend to get dried out quite a bit before I water them. I'm a little bit more of an underwaterer than an overwaterer. It's just easier to bounce back. So keep that in mind if you do overwater your plants. Uh-oh. And I lost a leaf. So sometimes that happens. Like I said, these came in a shipment in a box from the Postal Service, which we appreciate, you guys, by the way. Thank you for, you know, everything you're doing so that we can stay home and stay safe. But it wasn't a pretty leaf to begin with. We'll just put that to the side. All right, so we're getting down to some of the more cactus and like aloe type stuff. I did have gloves. I made the mistake when I was unboxing these that I thought even when I was just unwrapping it to know which one was cactus, that I would be able to just see them. You know, they're in a package, they're wrapped up pretty well, they're in paper, but no, those little buggers got me. So if you have cactus, you've got cactus on the way, trichoceros, whatever, anything with some spikes, please get some gloves. Even things like those cheap gardening gloves, those aren't going to help you. You need to get something that's, and I hate that these are actually leather gloves. So I'm not the biggest fan, but they do work for what I needed them for. But there are other kind of more sustainable options, I'm sure. These just happen to be what I had, and they are leather. Don't judge me. I just realized I do have one more plant that's not a kind of cacti, aloe, succulent type. So before I put my gloves on and I can't feel anything, you guys know what this is. This thing is so hot. I mean, you've seen it all over Instagram for the last year. They get big. I've seen a lot of them start to kind of wane lately. I don't know if people just don't care because it's not maybe the most trendy right now. You've got some things with a little bit more, you know, variegation or rarity to them, like an albo, a monstera, or something like that. But I've never owned one of these. So now that the hype has kind of died down a little bit, I wanted to give it a shot. I do see actually a new leaf starting to come out, which is super exciting. I've never owned one of these, like I said, so this is going to be an experiment in, you know, what type of water or light or care it needs. If you guys have any tips on this one, also let me know. It is a juvenile. Like I said, most things that I get do tend to be smaller. Plus, if they just hate me, which I do tend to have pretty good luck, I'm not going to lose out on $300 on a plant. Not that that would have been the cost of a larger one of these pileas, but super excited for that. So this is a pilea peperomoides. That one's hard to say. I just call them pileas. Chinese money plant, some people call them. I don't use that term, but you can also see them called that. So if you find one that says that somewhere, that's what this is. It's a pilea. All right, so now we're gonna put our actual gloves on. Can you guys hear me? The birds are a little loud today, but I liked it. I was gonna do a voiceover, but I don't know. I think it sounds more natural, and now you get to see me in all of my awkward glory, which is fine. So, wine time. Speaking of wine, it's a little bit faded now, but these wine cups have got this really pretty geometric gold design on them. This was a gift from one of my best friends. So Ashley, if you're watching this, which you better be, thank you. I love it. I still have it. Got a couple of other cups from her that have been broken, but this one is lasting. Well, it'll last if I don't drop it with these gloves. All right, so not really spiky, but there are a couple of spikes on here, so I wanted to put everything that needed gloves to the end. This is a aloe dyerii, D-Y-E-R-I-I, I think. I'll have to look that up. I'll put it in the video. This one did not travel well. Of all of these plants, and I think there's some 25, 26, 27 of them, something like that. This one was probably the most sad. So very, very dry. I don't know if this is from shipping. Honestly, I think it's probably a little bit of a drier specimen that he sent me, which is fine. But I'm super excited to see this grow out because this is super cool looking. I've had Ellos before. The last one, I actually just chopped it up and we used it. I'm not going to do that with this one. That's super curly and dead. So I'll give it a trim when I put it in a pot. It'll survive like everything else. They're resilient. They're aloes. All right, so the things that are gonna hurt you, I have last. So I got a couple of trios of things. So I've been getting into cactus lately and more succulents and kind of trying to expand my outside plants. I've always had house plants, but my outside plants are a little bit more forgotten about. So I'm trying to do better and kind of build an outside porch area for my plants. I set up a plant stand. So I wanted to get some cactus. They are so pretty. I don't know if they're coming through as well in the video, but these are kind of greenish blue. These are Trichoceros. These are actually 3 separate cactus, but he sends them all together and he sells them as one piece. Honestly, I'll probably end up potting them together just because I do like that look of the trio. But be careful, because if you're like me and you're like, oh, it's fine, it's in paper. No, it's in the plastic, it's on the wrapping. Like, these little buggers hurt. And if you get them, I mean, it's probably a 30-minute ordeal of, you know, messing around with duct tape or crying about it. They're not that bad, but they still suck. So I'm gonna put these back in the box just so they're a little bit more secure. This is a Trichoceros. I'm super excited for these. Like, y'all don't even know. So I did actually get 2 of those. If I can pull out the other one, I'll show you. I think I might have left the other one wrapped up. Let's see. We got some dirt going on. Here we go. So this one you should be able to see significantly more of that blue. Same thing, Trichoceros, also a trio, also sold to me as one piece. Ooh. And this one is a little bit bigger, I think, than the other one. The color is a little bit more blue, so I'm assuming that means it's a little bit more mature. Maybe it just means that he had it in a sunnier location in his greenhouse. I'm not sure. But I'm super excited for these. Since I'm leaving the other one probably together, I might end up separating these and just doing little bitty, like 3-inch, 4-inch pots for them and put them in different locations to see what type of care that they do prefer. So like I said, I'm in the South. Like, it's hot, man. So they should be pretty happy here. I just don't want them to get too much humidity because they are cactus. Like, they're from a desert, of course. So that's super exciting. I love the spikes on these guys. It's just cool. So this is almost the last plant. This is the last cactus, and then I've got one last holy grail of plants that I'm excited to show you guys. So this is a it's a red euphorbia. So also needing my gloves. Also came as a trio, sold to me as one. With these, because I do kind of like the look of them, I think I'm going to separate them because once they're kind of bundled together, you can't really see the cool shape of these. So these are euphorbias. They're kind of a pyramid shape, or a triangle shape. Yeah, triangle shape. But they're red, kind of a deep burgundy on the edges. And then in the center, you can see a little bit more of that bright red. A little pink almost. These I'm super excited for. I've never really been into colored plants. I've got a lot of greens and a lot of, like, you know, variegated green and white, white and green. But I wanted to do something different, so I expanded my horizons. I got these blue plants and these red plants, and they're cactus of all things. So we'll see if they like me. But I am super excited to pot them up. Okay, I'm gonna take these gloves off so that they don't distract you from probably the most beautiful thing in this entire video. Probably the most beautiful thing in my entire house, honestly. I can't even lie. I have a lot of beautiful plants, but I had been looking at this thing. I've been pricing it. I've been seeing people sell them for $185 to $250, depending on the size or the location. But I actually scored one for such a good deal. I'm super excited to show you. Do you guys have a guess what it could be? It's pretty hot. I mean, it's not the most hot plant, but it's pretty hard to find. A little bit more of a collector item. I'll give you a couple seconds. Let me know. Like, just give me a guess. Just let me know what you think it could be. And now I'll show you. Ta-da! Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. So, hard to see, but this is an Aglaonema Pictum tricolor. Yes, I said tricolor. So, these are pretty hot on Instagram. Everybody loves the look of their leaves. People call them the camo leaves. This one is a little bit younger. Like I said, I do buy my plants young, particularly this plant, because I could not have afforded it otherwise. So I got a little splurgy, and I got a wish list plant, probably the top of the wish list plant. So this is from Sumatra. So they are imported here, which is partly why they are so expensive and so hard to find. But they grow in the understory, so I'm not going to give it too much sun. I don't want to crisp or burn the leaves up. But I've heard they're pretty easy to take care of. I'm just going to treat it kind of like my other ones and just see how it does. I'll baby it a little bit more because it was an investment plant. So it's definitely not one of those plants that I'm just going to forget about and toss to the side and throw it away. This is definitely something that I'm going to have to read a lot more about as far as the care. I did see that Summer Rain Oaks did one of these as her days of plants. You know, she did 365 days of plants. And the stem, I mean, the roots and everything, it's small, but it's big. I think it'll be fine. It shipped so well. Like, the leaves are so thin, but literally perfect, like perfect condition. I'll actually put a photo up of these leaves closer just so that you can really see. These things are so pretty, y'all. So this is the Pictum tricolor. So the most rare, the most expensive, probably in my opinion, something that I'm the most excited for. So I'm excited to pot this up and kind of see how it does. Y'all, it is so pretty. Like, you don't even know. Look at this. So now that you got a closer look, I'm sure you can kind of see what the rage is about. I mean, these plants are beautiful. Seriously, so pretty. And I don't have anything that really has this exact type of pattern to it either. So I'm excited to see how that grows out and when it gets new leaves. They're all different. Like, this one really just has it kind of mainly in the middle. Some of these larger leaves, you can see quite a bit more of the 3 tones versus some of these smaller leaves with only the 2 tones really coming in. This is really exciting. I hope you guys are excited. Be excited for me. So thank you This was probably the most awkward unboxing video you've ever seen. It's my first time unboxing for you guys, but I asked you if you wanted to see it, and an overwhelming response, like 100% people said yes, hell yeah, do the unboxing. So I did, even though I'm weird and awkward, and it gave me an excuse to put a face on today, which hasn't been done in 2 months. Who knows what day it is? It doesn't matter. We're not focusing on that. We're focusing on these beautiful babies. So thanks for watching. Make sure you're following my Instagram. It's repotthedamnthing. I'm going to be having that giveaway soon that I kind of hinted on earlier. Make sure you watch out for that. And let me know if you like this video, if you thought it was dreadfully boring. Just give me some comments. Like, let me know what you think. Like I said, I'm new at this. I've always loved houseplants, but now I'm like, maybe people want to know about them. Like, maybe they shouldn't just buy a plant off the shelf and not know anything about its care or anything at all. That wasn't shade. I buy plants I don't know anything about all the time, like this one. So again, thanks. I'm trailing a little bit. I'm gonna cut it off now. Bye guys. Happy planting.